Welcome to The Hook,
where music and art come together.
with the people that created it. I'm Johni.
I'm Jess.
You're on The Hook. Our latest guest is somebody who has truly lived every side of the music business, from standing on legendary stages as a harmonica player to running sound for some of the biggest names in music history.
Gary Green has performed everywhere from the Grand Ole Opry and the Ryman to the Kennedy Center, the Birchmere, major folk festivals across the country, and even Afghanistan. He shared stages with Jimmy Buffett and engineered shows for artists like Kris Kristofferson, B.B. King, Dionne Warwick, and Mavis Staples.
And somehow, somewhere in the middle of all that, he also taught himself harmonica while hitchhiking.
Which already sounds like the opening scene of a movie.
So today we're diving into music, storytelling, sound, songwriting, road stories, auto engineering, harmonica obsession, and whatever chaos happens in between. Gary Green, you're on The Hook.
All right, I have to start with the hitchhiking story. So you taught yourself, allegedly, harmonica while hitchhiking. Can you tell us about that?
You found the hitchhiking story?
I did.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was a just out of high school thing. I grew up in New Hampshire, and I moved down to Virginia in the mid-'70s, early mid-'70s. And I would hitchhike back and forth. And that's kind of where I learned, because you're all by yourself for long stretches of time. And it was the best way to work out little melodies and things like that and just get yourself acquainted with the instrument. So I must have hitchhiked from New Hampshire to Virginia at least a half a dozen times back when you could do things like that. And then while I was living in Virginia, there was a time that I hitchhiked all the time down here because I didn't have a car. But that was the best way to learn for me at the time until I went to hang out with my friends Phil and Doug at New England College in Henniker, New Hampshire. And then that's when it all really came to be.
So where did that harmonica come from that you happened to have in your pocket the first time you were hitchhiking?
I had one in high school because when I go back to reunions up there, everybody keeps telling me, I remember when you used to play in the halls. And I have no memory of playing in the halls. But I know I had one with me because I can remember it on, the hitchhiking things and, eventually at New England College. But
So were you just like a total hippie, hitchhiking and...
I was a child of the 70s, so
Yeah.
I would be guilty of all those things.
I love it.
And all those things that come with that.
My mom hitchhiked all the time when I was a kid, and I was born in 71.
Oh, shoot.
And
yeah.
so she would hitchhike in San Francisco. I mean, it's actually a miracle she's alive and that I'm alive because there was also serial killers at the time.
Right.
But yeah, she hitchhiked. That's how she got around. That's how everybody got around.
Yeah, I have great memories of doing that. There's a couple times that were a little dicey, but for the most part back then, people were comfortable picking you up and you were comfortable riding with them, and you could travel the whole or the world essentially if you wanted to. You can carry it with you anywhere you go. Unlike all these other instruments, it's like your voice. You just have it with you. Only this thing is 4 or 5 inches long, and I always have one, and I'll have them everywhere. I'll have them in every room of the house, every car. You can have them everywhere that you go.
It's like me and reading glasses.
Same. I feel like, though, that's one of the first instruments for every child. I think every child gets a harmonica at some point when they're little by their grandparents or somebody. But why did you stay with the harmonica? It was just something, because you said your friends all had it in high school and all that.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. I was just having the conversation earlier that this instrument has probably been played by more people than any other instrument, not mastered or even gotten good at, but everybody has put a harmonica to their lips where you might not have touched a guitar or a trombone or anything else, but everybody's tried this. So everybody relates to it on some level. And because it's like the voice, it all happens inside. There's not a second modality like you can see your fingers with guitar chords, horn fingerings, piano. There's a second modality, so you can see everything that's happening as you're hearing it. With this, It's all happening inside you. It's this giant mystery. Makes teaching this thing a little bit of a challenge.
It is a giant mystery.
I heard like every note, though. Every note. That was so cool.
Oh, you're kind. Thank you.
Do you need to wear chapstick a lot?
There was a time early when I first started playing, this middle part of the harmonica, they call the comb, was wood, and it would swell and then shrink and then swell and stick out, and it would cut the sides of your lips and do things like that. But that's not an issue anymore.
Just in how they master them now.
This part is made from all sorts of different materials. There's a whole custom harmonica industry out there that's really crazy. It's a great, great time to be a harmonica player, because when I first started, all the harmonicas that were coming out of Germany were pretty much junk, but we all learned on them. But now it's a great time. They're just making some wonderful instruments all over the world. And I have most of them.
I see. We do have a picture of this. It's amazing, and that we'll share.
Yeah.
Being a harmonica player, you don't hear a lot of people being this. So I imagine you are requested a lot to come and play with bands and stuff like that.
There's a funny thing about that, because not everybody's a harmonica fan. I was working with George Thorogood at the Paramount Theater in Charlottesville like a few months ago, and I was just talking to the front of house engineer. I said, so does George ever let harmonica players, sit in with him? And he said, oh, you mean the monkey whistle? And but that's what we're up against. Not everybody views the instrument, because there are so many, people that squawk on this.
Oh.
And in a lot of people's mind, that's what it is. Or it's it's that kind of sound. And that's their reference point for the instrument, not say what I do or what, some of my favorite players do. So that's our fight. But I've been fortunate that the people that I've worked with like what I do and feel that I can add to what they do.
Do you remember when you went from kind of just enjoying the harmonica and hitchhiking and living your life to kind of realizing that music was going to be what you were going to do forever?
I reference this New England College in Henniker, New Hampshire. I'll always reference this as the very beginning of it all. My friends Doug Shays and Phil Hardy were both guitar players sitting in a dorm room playing things like America, Horse with No Name, and things like that. And I'd be the guy sitting there like twiddling my thumbs with nothing to add. So I took all that hitchhiking harmonica practice and decided to start trying to accompany them, and it kind of took off from there. So I have to have those two guys to thank for the style that I have, because I was really listening to a lot of blues at the time, and we were doing some of that, but we were doing all this other songwriter stuff, and it kind of dragged me down that track away from being a hardcore blues player, which I love, and I love the people that do it. And there are some really good ones right here in Richmond, but that's their lane. I found another lane, and I'm happy where I am.
So it happened completely organically.
It kind of did. It's a little blue-collar town we grew up in, and I just figured I'd work construction for the rest of my life, because hardly anybody from my high school went to college, or certainly not to the extent that they do now. So I just figured that I'd work construction and play a little music. But before you knew it, this band we had, the Overdue Band, was working 20 nights a month throughout Portland, Maine, all throughout New Hampshire, a little into Vermont, Massachusetts. So I really kind of learned the instrument playing in front of people. I mean, to really, really learned it to the extent that, they got me to a place where people appreciated what I do, and I wasn't just a squawker.
You just reminded me of the Ben Affleck movie. Ben Affleck really was the side. It was Matt Damon.
Oh, Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. You're
right.
Good Will Hunting.
Oh,
you were like, yeah, I'm just going to do the blue collar job. And you turn out to be this brilliant harmonica player. Oh my, it is literally probably the best movie that's ever been.
I need to watch it again.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the two that you were with when you kind of started having this inspiration to jump in and accompany them. What other musicians kind of inspired you early on?
Well, back then there were albums that we would listen to all the time. There was this youth center in this town when I was in high school that kind of got my attention. They would play this Hooker and Heat album, which is John Lee Hooker and Canned Heat. And it was like a double album, if I remember right. And they would play it in the background while everybody was playing basketball. And that's where I kind of fell in love with this instrument to do it really well. And that's kind of where it started. And then I discovered these little edgier harmonica players than the Chicago blues style that I'd been listening to. A guy named Norton Buffalo, who's amazing, put out two of the most iconic harmonica albums in the late 70s, early mid-70s. And then there's another player named Mad Cat Ruth, who was in a band with the Brubeck brothers called New Heavenly Blue. And they just had these styles that were out in left field that were not what I'd been listening to. And it just perked my interest to go in a different direction. So I kind of stepped out of the Chicago West Coast blues style, of which there's a guy in Richmond, his name's Kurt Crandall. Oh my goodness. Authentic blues harmonica as good as you're gonna find, anywhere. He's doing that here. And I just went a different direction. But it's been good for me because, I get to do soundtrack work. I get to play other people's with songwriters. I get to do things like that.
When I think about the harmonica is Train, Blackfoot. Are you able to do it?
I don't know what they do, but I think it's,
Okay.
Just,
he goes.
I know it sounds like a train. It's that. Stuff,
that's
just
cool.
stuff. It's just stuff.
I love it.
Everybody's got to do that. That's one of the first things you learn. Then it's the chuggy stuff. That's the first thing you learn. Then it just develops from there and gets much more complicated from there.
And then you end up with a suitcase full of harmonicas.
Yeah. And then you go in. I had to play something.
That's insane.
And that was a different harmonica with a totally different sound.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of what they call the altered tunings. A lot of traditional players don't go that direction, but I have. And I'm a fan of that particular tuning big time.
Well, you blew it away.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it sounds like you're a fan. The harmonica feels like it's one of the hardest instruments to truly master. That's why there's not many of them. It's also just really expressive. Like watching you play, your face lights up. So when did you feel like you found your own voice in it?
I think pretty early on with those guys in that first band, because I stepped out of the blues. And once you step out of the blues, your choices are either, for the most part, country or Bob Dylan style, or Piano Man, Billy Joel harmonica playing style. Those are the other options that most people seem to go. I found Norton Buffalo and Mad Cat Ruth, and I just started going to a different place. And because you're accompanying singers and songwriters, you get to that point, you need to make sure that you're leaving space. And it's not about you. It becomes about the song. It's not about your solo playing. It becomes about how you play to support the song, the bed you create that their lyrics can sleep in. Your time comes to be really expressive. But when you're working with songwriters, if you can't do it well, then it's better off you don't do it at all. In their songs, it's like a joke someone made about a drummer. It was that kind of thing. Something about what's the best drummer? And it was like the one you don't have, unless he's really good. It's something like that. If it's not done really well, then it doesn't belong at all.
Then you become a monkey whistle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in that scenario with the songwriters, is it their vision of where that comes in, or is it you determining that, or both?
I've been really, 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 really fortunate that the people I've worked with, for the most part, just let me go. and do what I do. I mean, there might be suggestions afterwards, but by and far away, it's you do what you do. It might be later, okay, pull back here a little bit more, or come here, or can you do this line here, that kind of thing. But like the songwriters in particular, whether it's Justin Storer, Peyton Tochterman, or Terry Allard, I've been working a lot with those people over the last handful of years, and Callie Garrett. They just let me go. And whatever comes out, comes out. And I don't know what I'm going to do it until it happens. It's funny. I almost hear it after I've done it, after I've played. It's a very strange thing. So much of what I feel that I'm doing in the moment, I'm not really aware of. It's just happening kind of outside of your body.
We hear that because it's something magic happening. It's you locking in with something beyond anything we could probably comprehend, you know?
It's God-given.
Yeah,
It's coming down.
Yeah.
Well, come to a live show, because that's where it happens. There's the listener, there's you, but the magic is what's dangling in between as it's, forming between the audience and the player. And like, I can do all this stuff all day long in my house, but if you put a person who's listening to me in front of me, it just changes everything.
Yeah.
So
Love that.
yeah.
Let's go back to 1987.
Oh, jeez.
So that was the World Harmonica Championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Tell us about that.
In 87, there was this Hohner Harmonicas, the world's largest harmonica company, basically did a giant search. And you created something, you sent it into them, and they picked a handful of people to represent the United States in the World Harmonica Championships in Great Britain on the Isle of Jersey in 87. So all these people sent in soundtracks. I sent in Decadel, and it happened in Richmond, actually, because Hohner Harmonicas was in Richmond at the time. They did the national search here, and I won this one particular category. Just so you know, John Popper of Blues Traveler came in third.
Yes!
Oh!
I'd trade careers with him any day of the week. But it was pretty funny. So then we went to Great Britain and competed there, and I won this one category with Decadel once again. That's the only thing I've ever written. But I had ideas of what I wanted to play, but I wrote it with a piano player because I needed the chord structure underneath what I was doing. Yeah, so we brought it over there, and they seemed to like it. And it was really good to me because after that, I got a fair amount of commercial work, and
you won.
And I was one of the winners. I mean, though I have to tell you that the whole music competition thing, it just makes me crazy. It's nice if you win, but it's, I would never win today. There's so many tens of thousands of great players out there today, but at that moment in time, it was the best thing ever, and it opened up some really big doors at the time. Well, like I said, I did some commercial work, commercial for Hohner, some other things. It just, stuff would come.
Well, your name's out there.
And your name's out there.
And you beat Blues Travelers.
Yes. Hi, John Popper. You have to joke about that. But I will say there was a guy named, his last name's Paparazzi. He was one of the judges, and he online, like years and years ago in the early 90s or when the internet started, he referenced judging that competition. He said, somebody posted it, I saw it, said, I've discovered two of the best unknown harmonica players that we have, and he's like me and John. That was just that just feels good that someone is recognizing what you're doing, because any musician, I would hope any musician, but this musician you're talking to, you always have that self-doubt about the validity of what you're doing and the value of what you're doing, and you just keep going hoping that someone appreciates what you do. So the more live work you can do, the more that validation happens, and that's what I'm trying to do now.
So I actually listened to Decadel a couple of times, your live version of that. So for those of you listening, definitely look it up because it really is spectacular. You really should think about writing another one, maybe.
Oh, man.
Well,
Thank
you've
you.
accompanied songwriters and it became your niche. What drew you toward that role instead of being front and center all the time?
I guess it was just fate with the people that you come across in your life. And it's one of those instruments that you need somebody else to do this. Like if Chris Stapleton was sitting here and you said, "Oh, do one of your songs, Chris," and he didn't have his guitar and he, did his whiskey song, it would be a cappella, and that's what it would be. So anything I do by myself is a cappella for the instrument. So you need an accompanist, and all these accompanists, they have their own things that they want to do. So it's that, okay, I'll just play along with the stuff you want to do or the stuff that you wrote. And so it kind of goes that direction until you write your own things. But every other guitar player, piano player, they're all songwriters. As the soloist, you find yourself sliding in that role of being the soloist. There was a guy named Peter Mayer. He's a lead guitar player with Jimmy Buffett. For almost 30 years he was. And he and I both have a friend named Scott Kirby. And it used to be we would go out as the Mayer Kirby Mayer show every September. We'd tour from Maine down to North Carolina. And we'd be doing all their songs. Along with Peter, I was a featured soloist for the whole thing. So I'm liking that role rather than being the front and center, though I've had some of those gigs. I like the supporting role because I can just pop out and do my thing, then sit back. And I don't have to talk to the audience if I'm in that role either.
Yeah, that's been an interesting conversation we've had with a few people, Will Kimbrough being one, where, everybody knows your name in the music business. A lot of people do. They know his. But that you can get on a plane, you can get on a ferry, you can go out to dinner. You don't have those kind of handcuffs that people that's names are bigger have, where they're very limited. It's very sad to me when you get that big, how your options change for just living every day.
Yeah. I was just doing audio work, sound work down in Key West for the Key West Songwriters Festival at one of the venues down there. And I would have in the round of 5 players, songwriters, and between them, they might have 20 Grammy nominations or, number one hits. There might be 5 number one hits up there. You don't know who any of these people are. That's the music industry.
I'd definitely rather be in that place than have my name known, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I'm different.
Oh, really? Oh, Johni wants the glitter.
I want to be out there. Well, I would love to be in your shoes where I'm touring and they know who I am so that they know what to expect, as opposed to me trying to figure out who I am when I walk into a room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Did I say that right? Because that's harder for me. I would rather people already know who I am and then I can just walk in and just be me. I mean, that's not really stardom, I don't guess, but...
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Then you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah, because I'm not good at masks.
Yeah.
So who are some songwriter, I guess, collaborations? What are some collaborations you've had over the years that have really stuck with you?
Peyton Tochterman, for one, is probably one of the biggest ones. I just love playing with him, also because he lets me go. It's like the leash is off, and that's not going to necessarily be the case with every songwriter. Justin Storer and Callie Garrett, their songwriting leaves a place for what I do that's a little bit different than the blues players and the country players. It just leaves a big hallway for me to fill.
It's interesting that you said that, because it gave me a more understanding, picturing how you see it, that there's this hallway, it's empty, it can be anything.
Right.
And so they're giving you the freedom rather than coming in and having it partially decorated.
Right. Yeah, I get to do the decorating. I mean, they could use a violin, they could use a cello, and those are all great. The response that I usually get is people haven't heard the instrument played kind of like this. So there are players that certainly play like I do, lots of them, but people don't hear them. A lot of those players are in their bedrooms playing, in their kitchens playing, and they're not out playing. Once you stretch outside of the normal harmonica playing, that fits their understanding of the instrument, they go, oh my goodness, I didn't know a harmonica could sound like that. And I'd be rich if I had a nickel for every time I heard that, because, well, I'm just playing and they all can sound like that. People have to decide that's what they want that's what they want to do with it.
I'm curious, now that you say that, how many times we've all listened to a song and not even identified that what we were hearing was the harmonica when it's taken where you take it.
I try to think a little bit flutish and clarinetish, especially in that high register, you know.
So pretty.
I just love playing up there, but, you know, I also love doing the, you know. But most players that do the bluesy thing don't play up high. And don't play flute-like for some reason.
And then I see your suitcase. Explain like the whole world of that, because when you played the one, it was very bluesy. Everybody knows that sound. And you played the one that's really high note.
They're all in keys, and there's 12 keys. So you have to have all 12 keys. So there's 12 harmonicas right there. Yeah, you would probably want to have, depending on how you want to sound and where the note layouts land for you and what you're trying to play. If you're a performer, you also have to have 2 of every one of them, because in the reeds that vibrate, they vibrate at a certain pitch. If for some reason the reed fatigues and it starts vibrating slower, it's not at the same pitch, so your harmonica is out of tune. So in some sense, you could argue, well, there's the case for 24 harmonicas, backups for every one. I don't do that. I have backups for a handful of them because some I hardly ever play. Now there's the tunings, like I'm going to play a little bit. These are all A harmonicas. So it's going to, and I'll play like the first 3 or 4 notes.
Beauty is more than skin deep. It's an evolution. It's wellness, and wellness is health. At Youthful Beginnings, we believe you deserve to feel comfortable at every stage of life. That's why we help you feel more like you. From weight loss programs and body laser treatments to hormone therapy and injectables, our expert care and holistic approach earned us the title of Richmond's Best Spa. Be bold, be beautiful, be well, be you. Start your youthful beginning today.
That's so cool.
So everybody has to have those. You know,
I mean, people can't see you, but you're holding 3 harmonicas and going back and forth on all of them.
Trying to.
Yeah. No, you're definitely doing it. It's beautiful.
Okay, so let's go back to you have one and it's out of tune, so you have to grab the other one.
Right.
Then what happens the next day? Like, is there a way to tune the one that was out of tune, or do you got to replace that one?
A couple of things happen. Either it goes out of tune and you can file the reed itself and make it sharper going back into tune. Or oftentimes what happens with these, stuff gets in between the reed and where it vibrates, and that stops it from vibrating. And I've had plenty of times where I've just shoved that harmonica in a box and gone to it a month later and done this, and the piece of grit or dirt fell out of that reed slot. And now the reed is vibrating like it should. But there are plenty of people that for a living will fix these things, you know, drill out the reed screw and put new reeds in. I mean, this can get terribly geeky. It's harmonica geeky.
Harmonica geeky.
You might not want to go down that road because it can get pretty geeky.
What type of file are you using?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I use Dremel tools, the pros do.
All right, we'll bring it back with something catty. Yeah. Do harmonica players secretly judge each other like a lot of guitar players do?
I would guess even more. It's kind of sad, but I think that's the case. I try not to. One thing that I will say about something like that is I feel like I learned something from every harmonica player that I hear. Bad ones, good ones, iconic ones. I've gotten to study with some of the best players that have lived in the history of the instrument. And you learn from those people, of course, but even just Billy or Joe, at whatever local bar who's just, honking away, there'll be something, a tone or something that they do, a phrase, something in their harmonical vocabulary that you don't use. And you'll go, shoot, I like that. It's easy, but I forgot about it. And I got to try to make sure I remember it and reintroduce it into what I do. That's the hardest thing, is expanding your vocabulary on these things, because you can get in a rut where instead of you playing the harmonica, it plays you. So you just have to keep that in mind and
got to spank it around.
Yeah.
Spank it around. Well, do you have a favorite? He spanked one.
I have a favorite company at this point, and that's Zeidel. It's the Zeidel harmonicas are an interesting story. They were on the other side of the Berlin Wall, is how I understand this, when the whole Berlin Wall thing was a thing. They basically disappeared. They were there, but we weren't privileged to get their instruments. And now, because of the way the world is, that oldest harmonica company, Zeidel, is producing instruments that the world can access. And their claim to fame is their reeds are stainless steel as opposed to brass or phosphorus bronze that other companies are using. And so I kind of favor them for most things. The steel has a little more of a rounded tone, so when I go up high, it doesn't hurt as bad as, say, a brashy phosphorus bronze reed. This is getting into the harmonica geeky thing, but it's a thing.
So you don't have a favorite harmonica, so to speak, but more of a brand, the Zeidel.
Yeah, there's tunings that I like.
You like the higher. I did notice that.
I'm a player that lives up in the high register of the instrument, and a lot of players don't. John Popper, who we mentioned, he lives up there and plays really fast up there and does all these, wonderful things. Some people don't like that whatsoever. I love living up in that register for some reason. What resonates with you, your own ears, humanness, your heart. What resonates with you is, what you gravitate to. That whole thing of all that really low stuff is, it's wonderful. I like it, but I go. That's a high A. No one plays a high A. Everybody hates the high A, but I like the high A.
That's
different.
wild.
It's just different. You can do that guitar player speak, shred up high. And that's fun.
I love it.
May not be the most soulful thing, but sometimes you just want to have fun, and shredding is fun.
I was going to say, you just want to shred, man.
Yeah, that's.
I love it.
But
well, what's the weirdest place you've shredded at with a harmonica gig?
The weirdest, other people might not think it's weird, but maybe it's the context was weird. You remember the Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh, yeah.
Well.
She loves Daisy.
Oh.
Yeah, she's
I've been on
cute.
stage with Daisy. Daisy's
Who didn't
fun.
love Daisy?
I know, right?
in that show, there's a Cooter, the garage guy.
Yeah.
Cooter. He did a bunch of albums, and I played on them.
Oh, cool.
And he used to do this thing called Dukes Fest. And we'd have as many as 20,000 people at the Bristol Speedway Dukes Fest. We were the band. And John Schneider, the tall blonde that everybody loved, had a country music career. So we would be his band, and he would sing, and the other ones are there. And we ended up doing all these things with the whole cast, playing with Daisy Duke right beside me. The craziest show we ever did, to me it was crazy because of, like I said, the context was at the Grand Ole Opry. That cast got invited down there to be on stage to do a show. So Cooter brought his band, of which we started the whole night off with the theme from the Dukes of Hazzard, and I'm playing this harmonica solo in, playing the Dukes of Hazzard. I couldn't play it today, but
I know, right?
but it was so funny because it was just, I can remember it being so surreal that I'm on the Grand Ole Opry stage. I have Daisy Duke right beside me. I'm playing the Dukes of Hazzard theme, and it's just like this is kind of dream stuff, but it's also weird because it's Dukes of Hazzard. I love all those guys that are in the band, and I just actually played with them a handful of months ago. But yeah, it was
well, for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, that show was everything.
Yeah. There's a lot of people geeking out about it right now.
And you know what? That was before we had 8 million options for what to watch on TV. I mean, I don't know if that was when we had 2 channels, 3 channels. We certainly did not have HBO yet or any of that. And so I like the dark-headed one though. I like him.
He had a small career too. He was a singer too, if I remember right.
We need to look up that entire cast again.
I know. That'd be cool.
That's so awesome. So you're still sort of involved with that.
Well, Cooter is not totally healthy enough to perform anymore, but his band still plays without him doing all those things. And every once in a while they'll call me, our violin player's sick. Can you come up and, take that role, that kind of thing. So I'll do that.
That's so cool.
So you fill in as a harmonica player where a violin would be. Or the fiddler would be.
Yeah, it's that solo instrument that anybody that has a strictly solo role, violin, saxophone role, I could get that call.
I love that.
So
That's cool.
what happens when there's multiple of you all? So there is you and there's a sax player and there's a fiddler. Like, do you all have to kind of coordinate where you're going to jump in and flow?
Yeah, that's a big trick. Like this coming in a couple of weeks up in Charlottesville at the Ravenna Roots Festival, sponsored by the Front Porch. I'm working with Terry Allard and her band, which is a 7-piece band. Accordion, lap steel, mandolin, violin. So there's only so much real estate. Musical
in that
real
hallway.
Estate. In that hallway. That wall's full. Maybe I can take that spot on the ceiling. No.
Yeah, 7-piece.
So, and it's funny because she and I used to tour together in the 90s as a duo everywhere. So now, doing it with the whole band, it's like, wait a minute. When it's just her and I have the whole hallway. So yeah, it's I don't want to say tricky. It's not tricky, but you just have to be aware of that. Okay, the mandolin's here, pedal steel's there. I'll make my noise at the appropriate time. So
you got to think on your feet.
Yeah, and that kind of thing you do. That's part of playing with other people is that communication. It's hardly ever spoken. It's intuitively you have to find your way in that space to where what your role is and what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. And some people are really good at that, and some people not so much, especially with guitar players that want to trade fours back and forth. I love doing stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you're playing back and forth, and then you're weaving together at the same time, and the dynamics build, and then it just kind of explodes. And not all players touch that place where they want to do that, or they can do it, or whatever. And it's like, okay, you do your solo, I'll do my solo. I'd much rather we build.
Yeah.
It feels better. So.
Well, from a listening standpoint, it's my favorite thing in the world. And I don't know anyone who wouldn't prefer that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. It's energies connecting that just are so much more powerful together.
Right.
I love it so much. Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I'd been for half a dozen years. I don't know, this one pushes my button, but for about half a dozen years, I gave this up. And I was solely an audio engineer at the Paramount Theater in Charlottesville. And my friend Peyton got a call from the State Department, music through diplomacy, Afghanistan. You want to bring some musicians with you, and it was, did I want to go? And at first I didn't, but I got talked into it by people really close to me that, like, you need to do it. So we went. There's me, Peyton Tochterman, Radoslav Lorkovic, landed in Kabul and met our State Department people. And people say, when you first tell this story, people think, well, you're playing for the troops, 2012. And it's like, no, it's not the troops. We're playing with Afghan musicians. We're building that bridge. So for a week and a half, we traveled the country playing. It wasn't the safest time in 2012. And we landed in Herat and spent a lot of time there with Afghan musicians collaborating together with their material. And then we finalized the whole event with a concert in the Citadel, Alexander the Great's Citadel in the King's Court with Afghan musicians. As far as I know, we're the first people to, and maybe even the only people to have played that space in the Citadel, Alexander the Great's Citadel, with Afghan musicians. Maybe someone else has done it before, but it was kind of a big deal. All the news outlets latched onto it. I think Iran came out and condemned our performance there at the time. But a lot of European media really latched onto it, and our State Department people said that we've been over here building roads and building bridges all this time, and this is probably the best bang for the buck we've spent, this music through diplomacy thing.
Music brings people together.
Yeah.
Always.
Stanley Jordan was talking about the Palestinians playing with the Israelis at the Grammys and just how powerful that was.
Exactly. Just the idea of it's powerful, and the music, another story in itself.
Well, and that was a big part of our conversation with Stanley, is like that kind of thing should happen way more than it does.
Right.
Because it does have so much power to heal.
Yeah.
And, help with divides as well.
For sure.
So I love that you had that. What were they like? I mean, were you able to, was there translators? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, we had a translator. Actually, he's up in Canada right now, and I touch base with him every once in a while. He was a young kid, probably 20 years old at the time. I'm not sure. But it's funny because people would, when you came back, people would say, well, what stood out the most from you? And you'd always say, the people. The people were just so welcoming and so warm and so, grateful to see you. And there's just that human connection, and it just transcended all the political and, military stuff that was happening. And you felt like they're just trying to live their lives and be happy and like we're all trying to do. And we connected with them in that way, at that level. And obviously, I mean, the music was what it was all about at the time. And the funny thing is, if you know Afghanistan and that culture, music, the Taliban outlawed music. So there were some places we played where it was kind of a big deal that we were even there playing live instruments with people, because that was a no-no under Taliban rule. And if you were to come see Peyton and I play, he tells a story about one of our shows where all this sea of blue burqas came up to the venue and came in. And once they got in the venue, were able to take them off and hear live music for probably the first time in their lives, because
that's great.
Yeah. And for me, that whole trip changed, because I had quit playing music, and it kind of re-energized the idea of, this is what I need to do. I went on and did my audio engineering, and still do to this day, but it kind of redirected to me as to where my real priority is. And it's the dopamine that I get from these things, I guess, or the endorphins and just, that kind of self-expression.
How long were you there?
I think it was like 10 days, maybe it's 2 weeks. I can't remember. It was a while. There were some sketchy times where it's like, we need to leave now, that kind of thing. Traveling around with guys with machine guns. And yeah, I'm so glad that I did that. It was a pretty moving period of time. And it still hangs with me today for sure.
Yeah, I could tell the minute I said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew somebody when I was really young who had been very isolated from meeting anyone outside of her race,
Right.
And I grew up in San Francisco. So, I didn't even understand that there were, problems between people
Right.
because of color or anything like that. And so one of my good friends was introduced to that friend that had been so isolated, and she got to know her. One was white, one was black. And the white person who had never been around anyone outside of her race, several months later was saying, oh, I love her so much. She's not like, and it was like, no, she is. You just got to know her.
Right.
And
exactly.
that is the whole thing. I mean, from whether it's race or cultures or countries or whatever, when you're around people that are not like yourself, you realize actually we are all the same. We're just all the same. That's the big secret. And, going there, that was a huge, I'm sure, revelation to see that you can just blend and create and that we're not like the enemy.
Right. Yeah. It was a little, well, you're right. It was a little bit of both, going both directions. You discover that if you're not a person that travels, you need to understand that traveling is probably the best education that you can buy.
For your soul,
for your soul.
Yeah.
It all changes you. I've been able to go to, Guatemala and, Afghanistan and, throughout Europe, so on. And you just learn so much. And if you learn about other people and their cultures, you find some things out about yourself, simultaneously in that context. So
mine was Hungary. That was the biggest one for me.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it's crazy. The history there is just wow.
Yeah. Well, that whole thing with history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to do a tour of Ireland a handful of years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. And that's where a lot of my roots are is, Great Britain and Ireland. And you just learn just being in the presence of another culture. You just absorb it and it alters your whole worldview in real time.
It's sad that so few people get that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just tends to stay right in the geography they were born in and raised in, and that's it.
Yeah.
Ireland's definitely on my bucket list.
Oh, do it.
Huge. That is going to be Ireland and Italy. But I want to go to Italy just to see landscapes.
Yeah. We went to Italy last year.
Oh, killer.
Oh, it was a top to bottom whirlwind. Venice. I loved Venice.
Well, let's just jump stages here. Completely jump stages from Afghanistan over to Jimmy Buffett. Tell us what that's like being able to get on stage with him.
Well, that was an interesting day. And I think I mentioned about touring with Peter Mayer, Brendan Mayer, and Scott Kirby as the Mayer Kirby Mayer thing. Midway during that tour that one year, see, Jimmy would take everybody to Paris, to France at the end of September because they did some tour over there at that point. So it was difficult getting a window where the people in the Coral Reefer Band could go out and do their own things. And this is the window we had in September. So Peter and Scott and Brendan and I were making our way down south, and we were playing in Amagansett, Long Island. And a little small 250-seater club, but Paul McCartney has shown up there. Billy Joel has shown up there. It's this weird, like, hole-in-the-wall, legendary thing called the Stephen Talk House. Well, we had heard earlier in the day Jimmy had contacted Peter, just like, I'm in town, basically. And, so it was one of those things. And then like a half an hour before we were to go, because it was our show that night, it was Peter, Brendan, Scott, and I. And Jimmy says, hey, I want to come by and see you guys and maybe sit in with you a little bit. It's like, Okay. Nah. So Jimmy, they snuck him in the back door upstairs to the dressing room, and so we all had this like half an hour of yakking and figuring out what we're going to play. Pirate looks at 40. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And the Mayor Kirby Mayer band and me went down, played about 20 minutes, and then it was like, okay, time for a special guest. But this is like one of those things where at this point, because word had gotten out he's in town, the place just was already full anyways, but it just got stupid. And so he comes down from the stairs from the dressing room, dumped you right onto the stage. So he came down, and we ended up doing, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes of his stuff. And, at the end of Pirate looks at 40, he turns around and gives me a nice fist bump on there. And it was one of those, it's just one of those little moments in time that you're so grateful that you're able to have and stick in your pocket. Any harmonica player knows there are certain harmonica chairs out there. There's Mickey Raphael with Willie Nelson, been with him forever, tours with him. Fingers Taylor was with Jimmy Buffett, and there's a couple other, what, you'd call the harmonica chair that, if someone gets and they own it for life. And so I was able to step in and, take be in Fingers' chair for, handful of minutes anyways, you just felt honored to be able to do that, and that he was up for it and willing to let me take that chair for that night. So.
And you got a fist bump.
And I got a fist bump.
That's a good day.
Yeah, that's a good day.
That was a good day. That was a good tour. I miss doing that tour.
Oh, I bet. Well, you guys can always get back.
Yeah. Yeah. All those guys are out doing wonderful things right now. Scott just played up at Jam and Java last night up in D.C. Peter and Brendan are doing their thing. I'm doing my thing. We'll all maybe collide again at some point. Like this whole music business, there's that things just kind of roll along, and you're just grateful for all the different seasons of your career, whatever they may be, and they all add up to something.
It makes me think of roller coaster rides because
Mm-hmm.
I love amusement parks. But, just thinking back in my head to all the roller coasters I've ever ridden, it seems like that's what it is for the musicians we talk to. And it's going to be a different one every time.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We love it. And they're all seasoned just a little different, but it seems like they're all in the same dish. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we keep hearing different things, but it's still the same in a way. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So we know that you played at Grand Ole Opry, and you also played at the Ryman.
Mm-hmm. That was a long time ago.
Which are basically sacred ground for musicians.
Right.
Did those moments feel different when you stepped onto those stages?
Yeah, I think so. The Ryman, maybe not as much because I was young and dumb and I didn't quite get what was happening at the time. Back in the 80s when I first moved down here, after playing with this songwriter and these songwriters up in New England, I came down here and immediately found myself knee-deep in country music. So, and we were living in Harrisonburg, and I was recording on some things. I just the whole sequence of how you meet somebody who knows somebody, and and you find a trajectory. Well, I just found myself working a lot at this studio in Harrisonburg, Virginia, that was doing gospel and country. This band I ended up joining with, it was the first time I was ever a salaried musician. It was this country band. Again, it goes back to these music competitions that I'm not so fond of, but it was fortunate that things worked out. This band won the Dodge Wrangler Country Music Showdown, and for Virginia, and we were sent down to Nashville and given all this money in a van, and they gave us all this stuff, and a film crew came down, followed us down, and we played the Ryman to do this big national Dodge Wrangler Country Showdown thing. The whole Ryman thing, I knew of it, but today I'd have a whole different sense about myself, about the hallowed ground that the Ryman is. I don't think I got it back then, but I can list it as a stage. So I'm going to list it as a stage as I've been able to play.
So we love the good, the bad, and the ugly. So is there a train wreck of a story that you have from any gig you were involved in.
There was one gig, I think we were playing in Richmond, actually, with the country music band. It's not the gig, it's what happened right after. Well, we played King's Dominion. It was this big deal. It was with that country band. And after, I guess we had won something, I can't remember, or I'd gotten some Instrumentalist of the Year by Country Music News or something. That maybe that's what it was. But I remember afterwards running through King's Dominion at night, trying to get out of there, and I jumped over one of the fences, and then the next thing I know, I was underwater.
What?
Is there some kind of water park or something?
You were on the water park side. You went to the right. You went to the right.
But I remember literally underwater.
Or the
Oh
left,
my
depending on-
gosh.
Wow.
As long as it's not the Loch Ness Monsters.
fully
That's
dressed.
Busch
You were
Gardens.
fully dressed.
I was I just gotten off stage.
Was
I
anyone
did-
there to laugh about it?
No. I just leapt over this like steel fence and concrete thing and thought I was landing on ground to get over the fence onto the other side, but the other side was apparently it was water.
Did that freak you out or what? What
Yeah,
did you do?
I just one of those things like time just stopped. It's like, I'm underwater. This is not real, but yes, it's real.
Well, how did you find your way out?
I can't remember now, but this was before I drank whiskey. I didn't drink whiskey back then. Whiskey is a new thing for me in the last half a dozen years.
Oh my goodness.
So for the engineering part of what you have done, Kris Kristofferson, B.B. King, Mavis Staples, Dionne Warwick,
George Thorogood.
Yeah.
You just said George Thorogood. Who
What-
else?
Pat Metheny, Chick Corea, Winona. And there's so many. And in this when you're the A1 at the theater, either you would mix the act or you would become the systems engineer for the act. You know, Diana Ross, Nitty Gritty Dirt, all these people that would come through the theater. You got to work with them. Bo Diddley was fun. Joshua Bell, violin player. Yo-Yo Ma. But all of them have these little, like, I can kind of remember the shows, but like Yo-Yo Ma was a situation where he came in the back door, the artist door. I don't know if you know who Yo-Yo Ma is. And he just walked to the center of the stage, and I'm in front of the house, and I look up. There's this guy. He says, "Hi, I'm Yo-Yo." we're like, okay. I don't know. So everyone has little things. The Dalai Lama was a hoot. He's actually a comedian.
I was going to say it doesn't seem to go together that the Dalai Lama is a hoot.
Yeah, no, he's totally a hoot.
That's cool.
No, my wife was his personal handler, and he would do things like take her hand. You're not even supposed to touch the hand of the Dalai Lama, but he took her hand and was dragging. She was trying to bring him up the stairwell, and he's like pulling on it, holding her back. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, is he too frail?" And the whole time he's just joking with her.
Oh no!
Yeah, so there's just so many stories, like that. Whether it's political figures like the governor or the Clintons or Whoopi or all the comedians. The comedians are a hoot to work with because they are all just normal people because they all came up. None of them were, giant stars from the get-go. They all came up through the comedy clubs and they were all like George Carlin, was.
You met George Carlin.
I have to tell you the George Carlin story.
Yeah.
Please.
This is just one thing about the George Carlin story. It soon got out that our theater was buying these shows, but comedians and management and producers realized we can rent your theater and we can take all the proceeds. So George Carlin was one of the first to rent the Paramount as a comedian. And he came in, he was practicing for an HBO show. So he came on stage with the audience with a whole bunch of sheets of white paper. And he says, he's basically going to practice on you for his HBO show. So he did that. And then it was just a matter of months later that he passed away. Mm. So I am absolutely positively sure that night there were jokes that he told that one and only time that he never told again. And I recorded that show, and I've since talked to his sister, And I want to get that show to her because I know there's jokes he never told before. I can't imagine, he was happy with everything. But I burned it onto a CDR back when we used to do CDRs, and I yet to be able to find it, but I will someday.
Like you physically have lost it?
It's in my house someplace. I know it's in the house. It's just I'm a little bit of a hoarder with stuff, so I'll put a half an hour into finding something. If I don't, 6 months later, I'll put another 45 minutes into finding something.
This is your calling to find that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we need you to find that.
Yeah, no, his sister would love to have it. George was a hoot.
Was there ever an artist you were nervous to meet?
Oh, besides you guys?
Oh.
I mean, everybody in a little bit of a sense, just because they're all those people.
They're all those people.
They're all those people. The name on the marquee, the name in the lights. It's funny because the audio work that I got in Florida specifically mentioned that he asked me to do it, this guy, Greg Rue. He said, because you work with these people all the time that you don't get the geeked out starstruck thing, and you're going to have some of those people on stage. So it's all of a sudden these waves of stories come, like with Whoopi Goldberg. I was trying for the first time to put a microphone around her ear, like TED Talk microphones that are side of your face.
Oh.
So I had to drop the wire down the back, and then I was trying to reach up from behind her shirt, and she's like, just put your hand up there, Gary, with like any old audio engineer and pull that thing down.
She always feels to me like she's probably a pretty authentic and warm in real life, let's just say.
Okay, so what's more stressful, a broken harmonica or a broken microphone 5 minutes before showtime?
Oh, the microphone.
Really?
Because you have 1,000 people. If one of my harmonicas is not right, I can go to a different one, go to a different key and play it differently, but it'll still work within that song structure. But when you have 1,000 or whatever, however many people that are listening to what you're doing as an audio engineer, something on stage that doesn't work, it's really work to keep yourself calm. Because once you start losing control to stress, you can't think straight. So you can't problem solve. And much of the whole audio engineering work is problem solving, or to be able to trace down the issue. There's the mixing part, which is great fun. That's the gravy. But it's troubleshooting an issue, wireless microphones, frequency issues. We've had them all.
What's it like being the person that it's screamed out on a regular basis, where's the sound guy?
Oh.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
That they're screaming for.
Turn it up. Turn it down. Turn
Or
it up.
cowbell.
Yeah.
I have heard that you are an incredible sound person, just from, people I've known in the business. That you are incredible.
I need to get this list of people and send them their checks.
Well, John Beckner's one of them. He loves you.
I've had some good shows. I'm not the science engineer, techno geeky guy, but as far as getting somebody, the sound that I'm going for seems to be often what works for the audience. I was really pretty happy with that part of my career. I can't go back to it though because of ear issues. I mean, there's an expiration date as you go old, and natural hearing loss and things like that just happen because they happen. And I'm getting to the point where I don't trust my ear on a big professional level. I'll always do it. I'll always be that guy that wants to control things with whatever band I'm playing with how things sound. And that's why I'm moving into just playing all the time.
Well, that's where your joy is, and your heart.
Yeah.
And your expression.
Definitely that.
At least if you have to give one thing up that you love, you have another thing you love.
I mean, I'm happy. I taught high school for 20 years and loved that too. So,
what subject?
Health and world history.
You get health because you're a hiker. Or a hitchhiker, rather.
Hitchhiker.
More of a hitchhiker. You didn't hitchhike the Appalachian Trail or anything.
No.
You thumbed up and down it.
That's right. I'm not that guy.
That's so funny.
I know, it just registered when I said it. I'm like, no,
God.
Johnny, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Gary, world history was absolutely the only subject outside of creative writing that I loved in 4 years of school. Yeah, world history was everything.
Wow.
We'll have to geek out about world history at another time.
Well, the other part of that story is who I taught. Is the kids that were labeled learning disabilities or oppositional defiant or emotional disabilities, and all in the same high school. The high school that I did my student teaching at, I was hired at Albemarle High School in Charlottesville and stayed there for 20 years. Every once in a while I see my kids.
Aw.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe they'll hear your podcast.
Maybe.
They'll go,
Yeah.
it's Mr. Green, it's Mr. Green. We ran into a teacher at the grocery store the other day, and my 15-year-old was like, it's so weird seeing a teacher in the real world. Like, she's shopping. She has bananas in her cart. I'm like, yeah, they're normal people doing normal things. So funny.
I remember when I was in high school and I had a fake ID, and me and my girlfriend,
Mama. Johnny's
We went to
mama's
the-
here. She's telling the dirt.
No, we all went to the bar because we had a fake ID, and we saw our teacher, our high school teacher there.
No.
And we were like, we froze, and he was like, hey, what's up? Come on over here. It was so cool. But the whole time we were like, oh my God, he drinks beer.
Right.
He's in the bar.
He's with a girl.
He's with the girl, and he's cool. Oh my God. It was so funny. I'll never forget that. That's for you, Kelly Bell.
Well, you are multifaceted. I did not see the
Yeah, I didn't
teaching
either.
career coming. Let's talk a little bit about music today versus when you started hitchhiking across the country with a harmonica. And
Hiking.
or hiking, as Johnny likes to say. And then I want to hear a little bit of music before we do the speed round. I'm just curious because we started in the 70s and you've gone through obviously the 80s and 90s and all the way through to where we are today. What is the biggest change you've seen in the industry since you got into it?
Internet, obviously, but the part of the internet, especially as a player for musicians, if we look at it from that angle, there is so much out there to learn from that we didn't have. I remember needing to learn a little specific piece of a song that I would lift the needle up on the record, play it, put it on there again and play it. And that would be to listen to it, much less ask somebody how that's done. Now there is nothing as far as a technique, like say on my instrument, that you need to learn that you can't find out how to do it. And quite possibly you'll find out how to do it from the person who you heard doing it. They'll willingly tell you online, whether it's Howard Levy, Jason Rickey, all these tremendous ultra world-class iconic players. You can communicate with them directly and find out how things are done. If I had the resources that musicians have today to learn, if I had that back when I was learning, I have no idea what my playing skill would be like. I'd be totally different.
Would you, though?
No, that's a valid question. I think so, because some of the fundamentals that you'd learn, I think I would have dug deeper into some things. Mm-hmm. Now, being older, I'm a little more lazy. I could go back and try to, do things that I can't. And I do, but I just think the formative times when things are becoming embedded and solidifying in your brain as far as music goes, and how you play and how you create phrasings and things like that, with everything that's available. Oh God, there's 10-year-old kids in China that are smoking good harmonica players.
Interesting.
Little girls. This one girl, Tansy Liu, Tancyi Liu, I think. I started listening to her at 10. She was duplicating master blues harmonica players from the 50s, like note for note, tone. It's just like, there's people like that all over the world, and now we have access to hear them. And same, you see that with guitar players, child guitar player prodigies. Mm-hmm. It's no different than with this instrument. I go back to that part about there's so much to say on an instrument, and no one says it all. You got to keep telling yourself your voice is valid, even though you don't do this technique and you don't play like that, or you don't play like him. You don't do that. You do you, and no one else does you better than you. If we're talking in the context of musicianship, there's just so much you can learn sitting at your kitchen table with your laptop open that you can discover.
It's a miracle we learned anything.
And yeah.
When you think about what we have now, I mean, even what you were doing with the record, that's also assuming that you're interpreting what you're hearing right.
Right.
Which, I mean, we're forever singing the wrong lyrics to songs.
We've actually talked about that.
Yeah.
And so, to not have anywhere to go to actually see it written, I mean, how did we thrive?
Well, are there things about old school recording and live music that you miss?
You know what I miss about live music? Because we were doing this back before Blockbuster, Blockbuster Video, back before you had so many alternatives of what you could do with yourself and Netflix. And it used to be Friday, Saturday night came, people went out to hear live music. They might go to a movie screen, but you didn't sit in your house. You went out and you supported live music because you needed that. And now you can substitute that with so many things. And you went to see people and supported them and gladly paid for them. And the whole, for people that are at this level of playing, like the clubs around Richmond and all this stuff, if the money you made back in the late 70s or during the 80s, if that translated to what it is today, I mean, but it doesn't. There's gigs I play today that I was making more money back in the mid 80s when I was that salaried musician with the country band. But you need to play. It's, we all have to play. It's kind of like boxing. There's the people that fight in the clubs, and then there are the people that are the champion that fight for championships. And, there's nothing really in between. There's either all the money or you're all scrounging. But we're musicians. We need to do this. It's our oxygen.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like breathing.
It is.
Well, I hope it circles back because that's really the only thing I ever want to do personally. And I know you're the same way.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even want to go out if it's not live music.
Right.
And hopefully, I just read something interesting about whatever the young I can't remember what generation it is that people are talking about a lot right now. But they're saying that they are the ones that are going to turn the tables. They're the ones that hate AI and they get furious.
That's Gen X, isn't it?
No, we're Gen X.
Yeah, we're Gen X.
Yeah, no, it's like Tegan and Landon and Jace.
Oh.
It's that age. And they are rebelling against all the things that are getting weird, frankly, and wanting to circle back. And I just hope one of the things is things like live music and not sitting in your at home watching 8,000 channels like a robot on AI. It's all getting so weird.
I heard a blues harmonica channel that somebody posted on one of the blues harmonica groups. And they, you said, I'm not advertising this, but you need to go listen to what's happening. And I listened to it and I thought, oh my goodness, if this just popped up in the background, I would go, man, who is that? Who's singing? Who wrote this song? Who's the harmonica player? Because it was so good. And we're in not even the infancy, but the zygote era of AI. And it's also, it's going to get to a place where you're not going to be able, I mean, I couldn't tell without listening, but it's scary.
Feel like it might get there for a second, but I feel like people are going to want to go back to organic music.
Yeah.
Even if it even does go there with the AI, I really think people want organic music. It's like what you were just talking about. Even the kids hate it.
They hate it.
Right.
Maybe it's the best thing that ever happens to live music is this, to turn people back to where,
An earthquake to rebuild.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I like that perspective. We can go with that.
Well, and with artists now, they don't sell albums,
right?
Or CDs or anything like that. So basically, you have to play arenas or shows or whatever to make money to do what you do to support your life. It bugs me so bad. Because people don't realize.
These are our music angels.
Yes.
We need to take care of them.
We need to support them. I actually have a T-shirt that says, support local music. Does it say? Yeah, support local music.
I did this soundtrack for as a PBS Nature, that series that they do. The guy producing the show found me to do the part of the soundtrack, and he sent me the music to it. It was all done. except for the harmonica part that they wanted. But he had synthetic, sampled harmonica to give me an idea, think along these lines. Because we always thought, and it's always been the case, and all that sampled bass, sampled drums, sampled this, no one's ever gotten the harmonica, a sampled harmonica, to sound like a real harmonica player. So I did that. I think it's called San Diego Wild. It's a nature, PBS nature series soundtrack. It was a lot of fun to do that kind of thing.
All right.
Speed round.
Yeah.
Hold
Can
on.
you do like dueling pianos where we just throw out our favorite song and you do it on harmonica? Or
Probably not.
But that was brilliant. I love that. Dueling pianos.
He said probably not.
Yeah.
That was the quickest answer, I think.
That's the thing about this is, especially for me, is I do solo stuff, but my thing that I do is I'm part of the canvas for songwriters, and I try to do things that are special. Whoa, newsboys crying extra. Oh, have you heard the news? I woke up this morning with those mean old walking blues, and now I'm walking, trying to drive my blues away. Well, the sun's gonna shine. I say the sun's gonna shine in my front door someday. I got coffee grounds in my coffee, big old bugs in my oatmeal, tacks in my shoes keep on sticking me in the heel, and I keep on walking. Trying to drive my blues away. Well, the sun's gonna shine. I said the sun's gonna shine. I said the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday. Well, I used to have a little sweetheart, but she done gone sour on me. We ain't together anymore like we used to be, and I keep on walking. Keep on walking. Well, the sun's gonna shine. Well, the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday.
so good.
And you have an incredible blues voice.
nice.
What in the world? How do you keep them all clean?
I kind of don't.
What would you do if you walked up and somebody had taken one of your harmonicas out of the case and had their own mouth on it?
That would be pretty bad. But that did happen when we came back from Afghanistan in the Kabul airport. We were going through. They opened it, and the guy made me play some, and then like 4 or 5 other Afghan soldiers, these are guys with the machine guns and everything, came over, and they all were grabbing them going,
Oh, no.
you just went ahead and said, you just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that gun says a lot.
That's right. And if you take one, I won't be happy, but I'm not going to do anything.
Or rather, you can have that one.
That's right. There was that.
Yeah, here's a gift. Here's a gift for you. All right, Gary, it's speed round time. Okay, so the key to this, don't overthink. Whatever pops into your head.
What's one musician stereotype that's 100% true?
I'm guessing most musicians are pretty self-centered. That whole thing that we were talking about before about are you competitive or always comparing? You're always comparing yourself. It's like storytellers or that, people, you want to hear yourself talk kind of thing. Everybody has a little bit of that. And with musicians, you always want to hear yourself play because it pushes all those buttons, all the dopamine, endorphin things. I think there's a little bit of that. Not that it's a bad thing.
It's so funny because when you're saying that, and I always do this in a speed round, my bad, but always wanting to talk, I pictured myself when you were saying that by a campfire for some reason with a blanket, listening to everybody else talk and being happy with that. And occasionally jumping up off my little spot to go, blah, 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 and then going back to my little spot with my blanket to listen. I don't know what you call that. All right, what's the most rock and roll thing you have personally witnessed?
Art Garfunkel came to the theater to play, and all during sound check, he's up there. He looked kind of like how I look now. He comes out for the show. He has a damn Art Garfunkel wig for his hair for the 70s. It wasn't his real hair. Sorry, Art. It was the weirdest thing.
So when you see Art live now, no, it's not his hair.
I'll tell you, there's not a lot that freaks me out more than a toupee.
Yeah, it just shocked. We all just were shocked. We thought he would come out looking like he did in sound check. He's a character. He would pop his head out of his dressing room door and just look around and shut the door.
All right. What song do you secretly love that people would never expect?
That Bonnie Raitt song. I just love that Bonnie Raitt song, but you don't associate a harmonica with it necessarily. No. If I Could Make You Love Me.
Oh,
she didn't write it.
Totally. Okay.
There's the piano player I play with, Callie, who's now out in Austin. We would do that song, and we would start it with a cappella harmonica. and then she
Yeah.
would come in, bloom, and she has a voice of an angel.
He's pulling from a suitcase.
Yeah, we used to do Hallelujah, which was
Wow.
That's a great harmonic. You know, all that amazing great.
Beautiful.
Peyton talked to me when I was playing it in the King's Court when a woman was there, and he snuck and did a nice video of playing that thing
Oh, cool.
in Afghanistan.
Where's that video?
It's probably on a Facebook thing
Okay,
or a
we need to
YouTube
dig
thing
for
someplace. Anyway, just stuff.
All right.
Yes.
If all those harmonicas over there, perfectly organized in your case, could complain about something, what would they complain about?
He's looking at him like they're going to talk to him.
No, it's funny because just today I put them on my homeowner's insurance. So I'm thinking they were probably wishing they were, because this is like $5,000 of harmonicas
Wow.
here. They're probably wishing that I would insure them because if this thing ever walked away, I'd be miserable. The harmonica belt has been stolen. They were all stolen at one point, 20 years ago.
So they'd complain that you needed insurance on them.
Yeah, I think so.
i.e., you are not valuing their life enough.
Well, I think each one is a little jealous of the other.
Isn't it interesting? I don't know if you heard this, but we interviewed a musician who ultimately the second half of his kind of life career has been on a cruise ship, on cruise ships.
yeah.
So he's managed to do that for years, from one cruise to the next, and doing piano and singing. But he told us this whole thing about how he really views pianos as sort of women. And so every ship that he gets on, he's familiar with her nuances and the way she plays and the key that maybe is a little bit different than it should be. And so he was explaining the piano at LAX. He stops and plays every time he's home. But it's you.
But wait, he names them.
And he names them.
Each one has a name.
That's
But
too
you've
funny.
got like a plethora of women in that briefcase, if we're looking at it that way, that are all competing for your life. I was going to ask questions about that too, but that's a different podcast.
All right, I'm going to clean this up a little bit
Go
here.
ahead.
All you wonderful listening people, it's a good thing you can't see.
Oh my God.
All right, so I think I have an answer to this question. Who would play you in a movie version of your life?
I'd like somebody 100 times more handsome than me. Maybe Brad Pitt would do a nice job.
I was going to say Harrison Ford.
No, that's good. I was going to say Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh.
I'll take that.
Favorite venue you've ever played?
Well, the Paramount in Charlottesville is a pretty nice venue to play. There's ones that have historical legacies to it, like Pass Eames in Boston. That's where, Dylan and Joan Baez used to play when, there's only 50, 60 people who can fit in there, but they just have this history. So there'd be places like that. Some of the big stages, like Falcon Ridge Folk Festival, the Philly Folk Festival, those are all, big stages for songwriters that, have got to play. The Birchmere is a great place to play. The Millennium Stage and the Kennedy Center was a good, fun time. The Birchmere is a great venue, and they treat their artists wonderfully. And the people that go to hear music there go to hear music, and so you feel that and you get that.
So it would be the Birchmere then.
Birchmere would certainly have to be one of them. I think it's one of the best listening rooms anywhere. I did have one little stage experience that was kind of funny at Folks Fest in Colorado, where this guy Peter Himmelman was playing, and he just happened to announce to the audience, "Is there a harmonica player that can come out and play?"
No way.
Seriously. And I was sort of near the front of the stage, and I just had one in my pocket, and it was the right one. And I just kind of like waved it to off-stage people, and they said, "Come on," and waved me up, and I went and played.
Cool.
So I run up, and we're playing into the same microphone. And this is Folks Fest. It's a big festival, and it's like Planet Bluegrass kind of stuff. And I'll never forget, I did all this really cool, fancy stuff with this, and he put his arm around me, and he walked back with our back to the audience and said, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right. I was thinking he was probably like, how did that just happen?
Yeah, no.
He expected some 12-year-old kid to come up there and blow that initial stuff.
Yeah, that's what he That's what he wanted, I'm sure. But, so those are the little tidbit moments that are just, I don't know. You just remember them. There's just, it's that whole when you're laying on your back, your final hour, and you're just letting the reel roll. Those little things that you're just grateful you had those little moments in life.
That's
Very
the best
cool.
story
Yeah,
ever.
that is funny.
All right. Best backstage food you've ever had?
This is where we start blending the audio engineering stuff and the performance stuff. But at the Paramount Theater, we would always eat what the artist eats.
Nice.
So I would have to say the Paramount back in the day would spare no cost for feeding artists. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but.
And what was the best thing that you remember that was so good?
Well, it started off being some of the salmon, but then once you've had it 20 times, because they get it for every artist. But in the beginning.
So good.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
All right. Artists that surprised you the most.
I'd have to go back to Kris Kristofferson because he was so gracious. He was so human. He was so normal. He was a person that could, wear the diva hat and earned it. But he was anything and everything. But he tipped the crew. His wife walked around afterwards and tipped the crew $100 bills. He said, "I want to take pictures." It wasn't like can we get your picture with you? And he said, let's do pictures. He came back again later on, and he wasn't quite as healthy as he was that first time, and things were different. But the very first time, that's probably one of my top moments, with that kind of work and with that kind of artist. He rises to the top as being one of the most genuine, good humans that you'll ever want to meet.
That's a class act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, your favorite vice to help unwind?
Scotch and Irish whiskey.
Well, we dove into the Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
We've all been sipping.
Yeah.
One album everyone should hear start to finish.
The first 3 Led Zeppelin albums. That was me. The 15-year-old boy in front of the mirror playing air guitar with
Jimmy Page.
Yeah. Or Alvin Lee of 10 Years After. That was just a great era for music, rock music especially. I don't think the 90s, the 80s, for me, none of them compare to that 70s rock era. And then again, that was back when we really used to listen to music. You'd put an album on and you'd sit there with your friends and you would listen.
And write the words down.
Write the words down. Pass the album around the room.
The cover.
Read the liner notes.
Flip it over to see what was going to happen on side B.
Yeah.
Pull out the sleeve and see what they had on the sleeve. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was just visiting my brother in New Hampshire, and when I left New Hampshire in the 70s to never return to live, I left him most of my albums, and he had them out for me to show me because I'd not seen them. So I had all these, Jethro Tull, Aqualung.
I love Jethro Tull.
All these things, and they're all worn to death. I'm sure some of them have some kind of value to them. And there was just odd ones that we listened to back then that you never heard of. But as soon as you saw it, you could, Uriah Heep. Thing.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff.
Thick as a Brick from Jethro Tull was my favorite song for ever when I was younger.
I loved the whole Jethro Tull era. Mm-hmm. I associate that with going to buy pot.
That's hilarious.
We were in the car driving to Manchester, New Hampshire to some crazy park where we would buy a bag of pot.
The only time I tried to buy a bag of pot at a park, I think that I got tree bark.
I got oregano.
Definitely finally learned I needed to stick with friends. We could, because they probably saw us as such an easy mark. That's why. They were like, oh, we'll just do the oregano bag for these girls.
They won't know the difference. To this day, I have issues with oregano.
Wow.
So we've been just grilling you with questions, and you've been so gracious with putting up with us asking you all these questions and diving deep. Now it's your chance to ask us questions. It's time for Reverse Cowgirl.
You can ask us anything you want. One question to me, one question to Johnny, or one to both of us.
Oh, man. Okay. Who first had the idea?
Johnny.
It was me. I was in radio for years, and when radio started changing and took out the heart of the artist, and it was just all about the money, I wanted a place for artists to talk and do what we're doing and find out what makes them and who they are, and I just love it.
So far, I don't know how many of these you've done, but enough that you must be finding a common thread about people that play music. Is there one common thread that jumps out?
The antenna for me. There seems to be, really with everyone we've talked to, the similarity of the artists aren't sitting down and trying to make songs happen, make music happen. They are just able to receive from the universe. They have what many of them have referred to as an antenna. And a lot of times, some of the most brilliant music has come for them driving on a highway and having to pull over to receive it.
Right.
And when they sit at the table and try to force it, nothing happens. Or when they don't take in what's coming to them because of life, being busy, whatever, then a lot of them have also said they kind of get punished. Like they won't.
They get a block.
They'll get a
right.
block. And so that is definitely, I don't really think there's been anyone who hasn't identified with that.
You even touched on it.
The hallway.
Yeah,
I mean,
the hallway.
you know, you're not planning ahead for that, but in the moment, you're getting that, and people that aren't creatives, that aren't musicians, nothing happens in that. It's just a dark hallway. Nothing happens for me in that hallway. So it is I don't know. For me, it makes me believe in something beyond us. And it also reinforces the fact that I think all of you are magic to me and to Johnny.
Yes.
Well, on that note, will you do me one favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Do you want our autograph?
No.
So funny.
Will you each play something?
Oh God! You know when you said this is the first level of what everybody learns. I'm like, no, not me. I could even get.
I actually really want to hear you do it first.
Oh my God! All right, so we'll identify since we're not videoing. First of all, I'm gonna just assume this is the side of your mouth. All right, it's Jess. It's Jess going first. Am I trying to follow you? Why do you have one right now? Are you going to try and make
I'm going
me
to see
sound
what
like-
happens.
God, she's so nervous. She's literally
No,
like,
I'm terrible at
I
this.
know, you're just terrified.
At least it's not singing, though. Okay, I can do this.
That's next.
Do you have any tips before I start? Stop it.
No, when you breathe in, think of the word wada, how your tongue hits to get that.
Oh, I did hear it.
And then you blow, go huda. Huda wada.
Go ahead, Jess.
Try down the left-hand side.
Okay.
The left hold. The other
left. That's what my dad used
You're
to say
making
to
me scared.
Your other left. Okay.
Yeah. Keep going. Same thing.
All right, Johnny's going to try.
All right. All right. Now keep going. Yeah.
Johnny's so good.
All right, now you have to both do it at the same time, and I'm going to play along with you. I'm going to solo with you while you.
I'm going to ruin this.
I think I'm going to pass out.
No, you just killed it.
Water, hoodie, water.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
on the hook.
Thank you.
Yes.
The harmonica thanks you. Big time.
Yes.
I promised I didn't spit in it.
If you're creative and listening to this,
We want your story.
the messy one,
The real one.
the one you don't usually have the opportunity to share. I'm Johni.
I'm Jess.
You're on the hook.
Lots of newsboys crying extra. Have you heard the news? I woke up this morning, had those mean old walking blues, and I'm walking. Trying to drive my blues away. Well, the sun's gonna shine. I say the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday. I got coffee grounds in my coffee, pickle bugs in my oatmeal, tacks in my shoes keep on sticking me in the heel, and I keep on walking, trying to drive my blues away. Well, the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday. Now. Well, I used to have a little sweetheart. But she done gone sour on me. Now we ain't together anymore like we used to be, and I keep on walking, trying to drive my blues away. Well, the sun's gonna shine in my back door. Someday. Oh, you're too kind.
It's awesome.
Make sure to follow us on social media at Johni and Jess on TikTok, and you can find The Hook with Johni and Jess on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
You can listen to all our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeart,
or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can submit to be on the show by visiting our website and filling out the Be on the Hook form. Just head to JohnnyandJess.com. That's JohnniandJess.com. That's where you'll find everything you need to get started.